Fight Club gets a little homoerotic.
A little. The whole movie is homoerotic.
Where are the quiet gays? Where are the quiet gays supposed to go?
Welcome back, everyone, to Lesbian Book Club. We will be covering Bottoms today, and if you haven't seen this insanely camp movie, please go see it. You will be laughing hysterically. I loved it. What did you think of it, Haley?
I loved it. This is the kind of humor that I like. It's the kind of stupid, like, just low level humor that I like, that I want to make my movies with. If you don't know, listeners, I write screenplays, and I like to throw little jokes in there that are very reminiscent of some of these. So
You as a cast member would be perfect in a film like this because you're like so silly.
it would be the time of my life. I would have so much fun. I actually worked on, do you know the Broken Lizard group? They did oh my god, what is it called? Now that I say it, I just Super Troopers. They did Super Troopers.
Oh, yeah.
One of my very first jobs, actually, I think my first job when I moved to LA, was working on their new movie, Quasi, which
Wow.
is like, I mean, another just really stupid comedy remake of Quasimodo.
Okay. I
Uh,
just watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame like last week.
yeah, I mean, if you're in for a real raunchy comedy,
Okay.
you can watch that and imagine fresh little green PA Haley
From
out in the
Montana.
desert. Yeah, in the desert at 4 a.m. every morning, chasing bunnies off of all of the fake bread in the fake village. So,
Cute. I could picture it.
yeah,
I could see it.
yeah, but same vibes. So, loved this. And, I have to say, I was really excited to find out that this was directed by Anna Seligman,
Yes.
who also did Shiva Baby, who you talked
Yes.
about in your last episode where you were giving recommendations.
Yes, I did. I saw that too.
Yeah, and I listened and I was like, oh my gosh, she talked about Shiva Baby, which I was planning to talk about in this because my dear friend Matthew, who is one of my mentors here in LA, he's this gentleman who used to be an agent for a long time in LA, and now he's one of my dear friends, and he loves Shiva Baby and always recommends it to me.
I mean,
I
probably
have yet to see it, but maybe now I need to.
I know. Maybe we should cover it.
Yeah, and he would be really thrilled to hear that because
I love
really
it.
disappointed every time I tell him I haven't seen it yet. I'm so sorry, Matthew.
Sorry, Matthew. I'll make her watch it, okay?
But yeah, so the other really crazy thing about Emma is that her birthday is one day before mine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Same year.
Oh, wow. You guys are like little twins.
Yeah, little
Cute.
twins. She uses she, her, and they, them pronouns. And she used to identify as bisexual, but as of 2023, she says she is just gay.
Okay.
So that's our little introduction to the director of Bottoms. And we also have something to pay attention to in this film, and that is that Charlie XCX did the soundtrack for it.
Shut up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
don't really hear her singing that much. Like, there's not a ton of vocals in the film, but a lot of it is the really, like, kind of clubby soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah, and she wrote all of that. And it was really fun because I just worked with Charlie. And I also, Marshawn Lynch is in this film, and I work with him, like, a couple times a year, and I just worked with him a couple weeks ago. So that was really funny because I had no idea he was in this. So fun little times to see these two in it. But Anyway, we will see or we'll hear Charlie XCX. We see Marshawn Lynch, and
Yes.
that's a surprise. And then this is starring Rachel Sennott, who I know you love and
I
adore.
love her, yes. But
And-
I love Edebiri even more.
Yes, I was about to say I adore her.
She's so insanely talented. You know, like we're gonna probably just skip around, I'm sure, with this movie, but you know the scene when they're leaving the fair at the beginning and she's talking about how she's gonna have to marry a priest, marry the other gay guy who's gonna be a priest, blah, blah, blah. She ad-libbed that entire scene.
Oh my god.
Like
I love that.
And Rachel Sennott just like, I don't know how to say her last name, so I apologize if I say it wrong. Sennott sounds like snot, so I didn't want to say it like that. But maybe that's how you say it. But she also incredibly talented because imagine like you're shooting a scene and your co-star just absolutely goes bananas on the ad-libbing and you have to play off it, right? Like literally
So
that was
fun.
one cut. One cut, she did that entire thing and they kept it.
So fun. I would love to be on that. That's so fun.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Just
I
like all
love
that comedic,
her.
like all that comedic talent, and you get to like just play. I think that's so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Also, 1,000%, that's me spiraling.
Oh, it is
into,
you. Oh,
like,
100%.
these absolutely bizarre, specific details that would never happen, but like, yeah, they're
You
gonna
thought
happen,
about
they're
it.
gonna happen. Yeah.
But yeah, let's like rewind. Let's go back to the beginning because maybe some people haven't seen it. If you haven't, I'm judging you. But yeah, let's talk. This is okay. The way I literally just described this film to someone today, and I said it's like a really campy movie about two girls in high school who start a female fight club.
Mhm.
And like that is the premise of this movie. And yeah, let's like what you want to just like hop in?
Yeah, well, the very beginning I feel like is the most classic high school movie thing is where they're in the bedroom together getting ready. Like, I mean, if you were a girl in high school, you have been in this scene where you're getting ready with your besties
Yep.
and you are trying to get feedback on how you look and somebody's looking real good and you are just not.
Yeah.
You know, we've all been there.
You're
We
like,
all have-
oh, why can't I look like her?
and she says you look like a little Dutch boy. That is insane. Well, she doesn't say that. Later homegirl, what the heck is her name? Supermodel girl.
Oh, Isabel. Oh, no. Brittany, who's played by Kaya Gerber.
Kaya
Yes.
She tells Rachel, who was the one that in the bedroom was like thinking she's hot shit, right?
Right.
Walks out and she's like, "You look like a little Dutch boy." That is insane. That's
an insane thing
to say to somebody. But
Wait,
she
but-
wasn't wrong.
No, she was not wrong. Edebiri has one of my favorite lines in that scene, the one in the bedroom, because she says, you know, I'm probably gonna, you know, she's talking about meeting up with her high school crush in other 20-year reunion. And she's like, I'll probably be in a white suit, you know, like the lesbian I am. And then Edebiri wore a white suit at the Emmy. I think it was the Emmys.
She did.
I think so. I'm going to Google it right now. But I was like, oh my God, I love that. Let me see. Because it's like, yeah, if you're a lesbian, you got to wear a white suit once, right?
I guess so. Putting that on my bucket list. Now.
Absolutely.
Let me
You
go
would look
write that
great in a
my
white suit.
planner. You think so?
Yeah. Oh, she wears a white suit all the time. Look.
Ooh.
Hot. Which one am
Work
I?
it,
I think
girl.
it was this one. No, I wouldn't have seen that one. But anyway, I just thought it was so funny. But
You know what?
okay.
She's working the contrast.
Oh yeah.
Like you know how, you know, you little brunette girl, you got to work the contrast with your hair, or you got like me, okay, I have the green eyes. You got to work the contrast and wear a little bit of like browns and purples and whatever. Yeah, that's what she's doing.
I know, she looks so good.
The contrast, she's walking out, she's stepping. Oh, she looks good.
I know.
Let's go, Ayo. Let's go.
I know. I love her. I cannot wait to see like where her career goes because like she's incredible in The Bear. She's so good in Bottoms. Like, oh God, she's just so funny. I love when she roasted J-Lo and then she had to host SNL with her. That was like my favorite thing. Okay, so after they get ready, they want to both impress these two girls because they're both gay in the movie, and I love it. And they're gay in real life, right?
For sure, Io is.
Yeah,
right?
Io is. I'm pretty sure Rachel is as well.
I think so.
Which I love when gay actors or gay parts are played by gay actors.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's you're not going to play it right if you're straight, unless you're Jennifer Beals in The L Word. She can be straight. It's fine.
Wait, Jennifer Beals is straight?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, I know. It's like devastating, but whatever. Let's see. Oh,
Who else is straight that I don't know
No,
about?
Rachel Sennott is not straight. Or I'm sorry, not gay.
Is she bi?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think she's fucking straight. There's like a huge conversation about it. But anyway, okay, whatever. Sad.
Let's hear it out of the horse's mouth.
I'm trying
Rachel?
to find it. No, like I'm literally, they did an interview. They spoke out about public pressure placed on entertainment and oh my God, I can't read. Spoke out against public pressure placed on entertainers to label their sexualities.
You know what? I think that's fair. I think that's super fair. Rachel, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah, you don't, I know we're like, tell us. Okay, never mind. Oh, okay. So we'll get off that topic anyway. But okay, so after the bedroom scene, they go to this fair, which looks like such a good time. And they want to impress Isabel, who's played by Havana Liu, and then Kaya Gerber's character, Brittany, which can we talk about Havana Liu for like 2 seconds?
Yes.
She has the prettiest face I've ever seen on any person in the entire world.
She doesn't look real. She looks like a baby doll.
She looks like a doll. I saw somebody on Twitter say Havana has the face that you go to war for. Like, and I was like, yes, absolutely. She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
It's like The Summer I Turned Pretty. What the heck is that girl's name?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Okay, well, the main character in that,
She has a face like that?
the girl that plays Belly, they don't look the same, but like if Belly was sort of toned down.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, like I feel like I can't explain this well, but my mind is just melding them together because they
look really similar.
They have the same effect, I feel like, except for that the girl that plays Belly has like a little bit more of like a punchiness to her.
Yeah.
And then Havana is just very soft.
Yeah, she's so soft. She's so soft. Yep. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about Havana's character, or about Havana herself. But yeah, they're like the quintessential cool girls, right?
Yeah.
Of the movie in high school, while Io and Rachel play like the outsiders, the outcast type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what I loved? I'm getting ahead of myself here, which I always do, but what I loved about the cool girl thing with them is how no, not Isabel. What the heck?
Brittany?
What is her name? Brittany.
Haley just hit her microphone.
Sorry, everybody.
See, you belong in the movie.
How Brittany has this like meltdown later on about how nobody ever sees her for anything except for how she looks, and how she just wants to be seen for her thoughts and everything. And I'm like, that is the most cliche line. Like, everybody's gonna put that in for the cool girl and stuff. But also, look, it's kind of true.
It's true.
It is kind of true because and not to sound...
No, I was going to say, how do you feel about that? Probably because you are very, very beautiful. So, and everyone always tells you that, including myself. So like, but I mean, obviously I think there's obviously a lot more to you, but how does that feel? Like, do you feel that way?
Well, I mean, people just very often assume that I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Is the
I
thing
bet.
is like I very, very frequently have people right off the bat assume that I'm going to be dumb. And I'm actually pretty intelligent, I'd say.
You are very intelligent, yes.
And thank you. Thank you very much.
I agree.
um and so it's always really surprising to me the way, because I also don't perceive myself like the way,
Yeah.
you know, when you're just walking through the world, you're just existing
Right.
as you are. And so it's always very surprising to me when somebody just approaches me not knowing me and assumes right off the bat that I'm dumb.
Yeah, that's
And
wow.
yeah, like at work the other day, a man approached me and assumed I didn't know how to use a folding chair. A folding chair that I had already, mind you, folded about 30 of them and had been carrying. And he came up to me and took the already folded folding chair out of my hand and explained to me how to fold a folding chair. Yes. And I was like, wow. Thank you, sir. I would have never known.
That's so frustrating. I'm sorry that happens to you.
Well, and it's just like really,
it makes them look dumb, honestly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it can be very frustrating, but it's also just very bizarre. And so when she says things like that in this movie, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit cringe, but at the same time, I'm like, no, I understand what she's saying.
I don't. Here's the thing, though. I think this, like, yes, it's stupid humor, but it's smart, stupid humor, right? Then that's what I think.
Point to it.
Yes, exactly, and that's what I think camp is. It's like stupid humor with an actual message. It's, to me, it's actually smart comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that is true. What she's saying is so true, but it sounds stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it sounds silly, but it's like, no, but actually, like, just because she is so pretty doesn't mean she's not an intelligent human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's so true. I love the humor in this movie. It's so fucking funny.
It's so funny. I also loved that Isabel decides to come to this fight club because she thinks that it's like an empowerment for women thing, and like that's how Josie has explained it to her, is that there is a lack of female solidarity among the women in the school, and so this is their solution to fix that.
Right.
And Isabel, that strikes a chord with her, and she's like, okay, I like that. I'm gonna come show up and see what it's about.
And she's the character you would think wouldn't be coming from that viewpoint. Like, similarly with Brittany, you think like, oh, she's not going to like have an interest in like social justice or equality or anything like that. And yet here's her being like, this is the reason I came, is because I'm actually interested in this.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Yeah. And then Brittany is like, well, I'm only here because I have no identity outside of Josie, or I'm outside of
Isabel. Which is so funny. That is
hilarious.
That's a funny ass line.
It's so funny because everybody tells this pair of friends too that it's like when you are so intertwined in a female friendship, this happens. Like,
yeah.
You're so like, okay, you go to any high school and you will find so many of these pairs of girls that their souls are literally tied together.
Same person. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Same person, two bodies. Bless you. You sneeze like a mouse.
Oh, I had a dream last night, which I think, I'm so
oh my
itchy.
God.
I have allergies.
Your allergies.
I think it's because I went to PetSmart yesterday, and I'm really interested in the rodents, as we all already know. But and I looked at the snakes, and I was just really excited about all of that. But
what a fun trip!
Yeah, I was looking at them, and my girlfriend was like, "I know you're going to want a mouse at some point in our relationship, and I just need to tell you, I don't think I can do that, because if it gets out, I will be scared and accidentally kill it, and then you won't be able
love me anymore.
Love me, and then I won't be able to live with myself." And I was like, I was
You're like, that's the cutest thing ever.
what a problem we have facing
That
us.
is a
and
that is a dilemma. But hold on, do you want a mouse or a rat?
I don't want a rat because I do love them, but how thick their tails are.
Tails are freaks you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, their tails
I
are
want
creepy.
to love them from a distance. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I had a pet rat.
Yeah.
Did I tell that story?
That is some lore about you. Yeah. I still don't really love mouse tails, but I think I can get over that.
Yeah, they're thinner. They're not as creepy. They're kind of like lizard tails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I had this dream last night that I was sleeping naked, and all of a sudden I felt like something crawling up my body.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, babe, get it off. What is it? And she like looked at me and started screaming. And I couldn't see what it was. And it's like crawling up my naked stomach and chest. And I like still can't see it. And then she finally like grabs it off of me and just throws it across the room.
Don't tell me. Do not tell me.
It was a giant rat.
Wait, this is a dream, right?
It's a dream.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that was pretty freaky.
I thought the dream was like you are acting out the dream, but then like it was actually happening. I'm sorry. I really thought it was gonna be like a cockroach or a spider or something.
No, but now that I think about it, I'm like, well, was I actually feeling something crawl on me while I was asleep? I don't know.
Okay, well, I hope. Gross.
I don't know, but I was sleeping like pinned against the dog, so maybe it was just like the dog moving.
Yeah, probably. Or like a hair.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna try to not think about that too hard.
Yeah, we're not gonna think about that. Let's talk about the boys in this movie.
Yeah. Why are they flirting by calling the girls, these cool girls, skinny? First of all, not the boys. I skipped past these boys.
You're so
and I went,
skinny.
Yeah, back to Io and Josie and PJ. They're like, "Oh, you're so skinny."
Because I think they're taking. Yeah, I think they're taking. So here's my take on it. Because I do think the writers on this movie were incredibly smart and tapped in. Because our society is obsessed with thinness, right? Especially it's like the highest beauty standard you could be. And obviously that comes from like ages long of anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. But I think it's like a commentary on that. That's especially as like a high school girl. A lot of times you like that is what you're focused on. At least for me. I mean, I was very focused on being thin in high school. And so if someone gave me that compliment, that's like the highest compliment. And I feel like in this movie, the two lesbian characters like kind of act like gross men.
They do,
but
sure, yeah.
Through like, and I think it's just like lesbians don't act like this. It's just it's a humor. It's the humor of it. I think is so funny about it. So they're being like, "Oh, you're so thin, you're so pretty," like trying to give them the compliments that boys in their grade would give them. Because that's how they've seen it work. Boys give the girls these compliments, so I'm going to give them these compliments because we want the same thing from these girls. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It also kind of feels like they don't understand who these women are. And this goes along with the same thing of what we just were talking about with like people are misunderstanding who these like cool girls are. Based off of what they're seeing. Yeah. And they think that, because of the way that they are perceiving these girls, that this is what they're going to care about. And they aren't caring about that. So they're getting these, what Josie and PJ think are compliments. You're so skinny. Right. Oh, you could eat anything you want, blah, blah, blah. And these girls are like, okay. What the fuck? Like, why are you saying that to me? And it's just not going the way that they think. Yeah. Yeah, it's objectifying them. A value that they have. Exactly. Despite the perception that society has of these women.
I just want everyone to listen back to that last 10 seconds and hear how smart Haley is.
Thanks.
Just saying. But yes, it's so cringy to watch because you're like, But
It
then,
is.
Brittany is like, she's like, let's go get a hot dog. And she's like, no, I don't eat the bread.
Yeah.
But okay, now let's talk about the boys because they are introduced into this, and it is, I can't say this guy's last name, so I'm not even gonna try to, but the character that plays Jeff, he's
Uh-huh.
so perfect in this role.
He's
Oh
so
my
funny.
God. He's hilarious. He's like the jock, the football star. And this is how these boys are treated in these, like in our society. It's crazy to me.
Like exalted.
Yes. Everything revolves around him. Like everything like that. There's a movie we need to cover. It's called Moxie. I think I've talked about it on the pod before. And it's kind of like the non-camp version of this movie. It's with
Yeah.
Amy Poehler, isn't it? Oh God. Okay, we're gonna cover it. We're gonna cover it for sure. But it reminded me of the character in Moxie. He plays the same, like the jock character. But it's a very much more realistic where he's still exalted, but it's not like in a camp way. But everyone believes him, everyone does what he says, it's all about him. And it's a much more sinister plot, obviously. But it's just these characters, we see them in films, and the reason we see them in films is because they're reflecting back real life, right?
Right.
So it's just an interesting dynamic to see for sure.
Yeah. He's also like living his life the way that men do when they have a man cold.
Oh, you mean he's such a baby?
Super dramatic.
Uh-huh.
And okay, another thing I love about the humor in this film is things escalate so quickly for no reason.
Yeah,
all the time.
It's hilarious.
And that's like the reason that things are so funny a lot of the time in this film for me is that like things will just be happening and all of a sudden it's like bam, escalation to the highest degree. And you see it coming out of nowhere and it's like, where did that even come from?
Yeah. A serious person could not watch this movie and think it's funny.
No.
Because you just gotta roll with it. Can you give an example of one of those?
I mean, yeah, when Josie hits him with her car.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Right in the beginning of the movie. So Isabel's dating this man. And
right, of course,
they get in a little bit of a tiff. And
because wasn't he like cheating on her?
Yes.
Just a little tiff. He was fucking around.
Yeah. Isabel comes and gets into Josie's car with her and BJ.
Yeah.
And she's like, drive away. Get away from him. And he is like, come on now. And of course, as soon as this is like the cycle of abuse, but they made it goofy. But
yes.
Cycle of abuse where they do a terrible thing. And then they try and be so sweet and, oh, but I love you. I'll make it up to you. Everything's all good. Come on, baby, sweetheart.
I'll never do it again.
Yeah. And she is not falling for it. And she's like, hit him with your car. Drive through him.
You hit him. Do it.
Yeah. And Josie is like, Josie just had a spiral about how she's going to marry a gay priest and spend the rest of her life in a lavender relationship. And
now the girl she's in love with is like, hit my boyfriend with your car.
Exactly. Yeah. Now the girl who she thought would never even know who she is sitting in her passenger seat.
Literally going, protect me. Protect me.
Exactly. And so Josie barely detectably taps him. And he falls on the ground, screams like he's broken his leg, literally shows up in crutches and a cast to school the next day. The entire team comes rushing, and then it's like a shot from the sky where it's like, no! And everyone's circled around him. It is genius.
It's so funny.
And all of a sudden, Josie and PJ are pariahs, and there's this crazy rumor going around that they've killed girls in juvie.
Yep.
And I mean, what an escalation.
You know, say like when I was watching it, I wasn't thinking that. I was just going with the flow of the movie, thinking like it's so camp. But now that you say it, I'm like, that is insane. That's actually insane.
Yeah, I mean, they went from being like the nerdy outcasts of high school
Yeah.
to murderous juvie cons that ran over the quarterback football star in the parking lot.
Yes.
I mean, it's just wild. I mean, put yourself in their shoes. And if you were a shy little weirdo in high
Right.
school and all of a sudden that is the perception that everybody has of you, what kind of panic are you experiencing? And also, what are you doing with that attention that everybody's all of a sudden putting on you and like the expectations that they now have of you?
Oof.
And I don't know about you, but I don't think that I would turn around and start a fight club, but that's what they do.
That's exactly what they do, because let's talk about who started this rumor, which was Hazel.
I adore Hazel.
Oh my God, I do too. And
Hazel
fuck her
is
mom.
like-
Fuck Hazel's mom.
Oh my gosh. Hazel is just so sweet. She is just trying to be included.
She's like a protect her at all costs girl, you know?
She's like the nice, cool, we should actually have her around version of Daisy.
Oh, you're right. You're so right. Good callback.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yes, you're right. Okay, well, Hazel started this rumor, spread it around like wildfire, and then yes, the resulting cause and effect of that was starting a female fight club. But they need a teacher to run the club. And who do they have but Mr. G?
Yeah.
Which, oh my God, he's so funny in this movie.
Yeah, enter Marshawn Lynch.
Yes. Yes, Mr. G, his signs in his classroom are so funny. I can't remember what they said, but like they read so fun. They were so funny. But he agrees to be a part of what's it called? Like not the chaperone, but they need
the faculty sponsor.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you know what he is?
What?
He is every small town PE teacher or history teacher that was like some high school kid that didn't want to leave high school, so he stayed.
Oh, yes. Okay. I was going somewhere else.
Yeah, and he doesn't like actually really care about teaching. He just kind of wants to stay in high school, so that's what he's doing.
You're absolutely accurate. You could not be more accurate, Haley. I can't. Okay, let's get to like their first meeting. So basically, Josie and PJ are starting this because they want to sleep with Isabel and Brittany. And they're like, let's just get them in our club. We'll be touching them because we'll be doing self-defense and blah, blah. Like, it's really gross.
Yeah, some nefarious undertones.
Yes, for sure. And they beat the shit out of each other. It's like kind of crazy. I actually had a friend who didn't like this movie because it was too gory. I know. Isn't that so funny?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? Okay, but in the end scene is incredibly gory.
Yeah.
The fight on the football field.
Yeah,
it's pretty
but it's
bloody.
Also shot like so
hilarious.
Campy that it's like hard.
Oh, it didn't bother me.
It's not like you're watching Game of Thrones where it's like real looking.
Yeah, I agree. Although there was that one punch that happened. I don't know if you'll remember it. And like the blood, it was like, that was gross. Maybe I'm just a little queasy. But yeah, so they do their meetings and they're beating the shit out of each other. But in the meantime, they're like getting to know each other and they really are building like a little community. And they're like walking around with all their bruises and their black eyes and shit. And it's such an interesting way. It's almost like if you were to take like a higher view narrative, it kind of is what women have to go through to create community with each other, especially like in the gay community. It can be hard and there's like, it's traumatic a lot of times. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks for always knowing what I'm saying.
You know what I really loved about this club, even though it wasn't, I'm not gonna say that beating each other up, especially at school, is good.
You're not.
But what I really loved about this club was that all of these women were getting to use their bodies in ways that we're not allowed to
Right.
usually.
Yeah.
Like boys are getting in fights and that just happens, or like when they're just playing, they're wrestling and they're, being rough
Yeah.
with each other, but like when girls do that, it's cut it out. Stop doing
Yeah.
that. And they're getting to, I mean, I think that a big part of the reason that a lot of girls love contact sports is we get to like go out and just let out our rage and use our bodies and
be
really
physical.
be in ourselves in a way that we don't get to anywhere else. And that's what they were getting like taken over by just being in their bodies.
Yeah.
And I really saw that in them and I loved it. And I was thinking about like, oh my God, if there was a fight club when I was in high school, I probably would have wanted to be a part of it just to be able to let go like that.
Yeah.
Like that would have been, I think, a really cool experience for me. And it wouldn't have even been to, to do self-defense or whatever the, excuse.
No, it's just
was.
to feel like you're like to feel embodied, because I think growing up as a woman in our society, it's a very disembodying experience because our bodies are so sexualized or told to cover up or told, to be aware of how other people perceive the body, like your own body, that you don't really spend time in it because it's such a taboo or such a like not good thing, because everyone's constantly, the pressure to be correct in your body is so high.
Yeah. And you're always thinking about what you look like to other people. And if you're fighting, you don't have time to think about that. You gotta
just fucking use your body. Yes, to defend yourself. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. Mr. G gets, so he gets brought into this thing and he gets really excited about feminism. Fight Club gets a little homoerotic.
A little. The whole movie is homoerotic.
Especially when there's like PJ getting on top of Brittany, and Brittany's like, Are you good? Why are you smiling at me?
That was a hot scene. That was very hot. I could like feel PJ's like, I can't believe I'm in this position.
And then we have a trauma circle.
I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this for sure.
Yeah. So this was real. Like the trauma circle was everybody was being real and bringing something that was important to them to it until PJ and Josie opened their mouths.
Yep.
And they fucked it up.
Yeah, I would, but before we talk about that, I do want to talk about like some of the traumas, because I can't remember specifically, but when they said like, oh, they say like, who here's been raped, right? And then they're like,
yeah, that's how they started it.
They started it off with that. Yeah, but also like, how fucking real is that? And then they're like, what did she say? Like, gray stuff counts too, or like, what did she say? Like, or like almost raped is also counts. And every single woman put their hand up in that trauma circle. And, I understand when people are like, not all men, right? But it is always a man. That's what I like to think about. I'm like, yeah, it's not all men, but it is always a man. And you can't fault women for being scared or being protective of themselves when it's a high likelihood of something happening to you. If you're in a position with a man, it could be scary. It's like, what is it? They use the bee analogy to talk about this. Like, if you've been stung by a bee before, you're going to then be scared of all bees, even though all bees don't want to hurt you, And I thought that was a really, like, yes, we're in a funny movie, but at the same time, that's why I loved it for its wit and like intelligence in telling jokes. Because they did it in a funny way, but it was still like you could feel seen in that scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody except Mr. G raises their hand, and he looks really, really surprised.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
I
I think
think
all men
that a
are,
lot of men, yeah, are really surprised because we as women aren't going around telling men what's happened to us.
yeah. You know,
Like,
that this reminds me of a really incredible stand-up comedian. His name's Daniel Sloss, and he has a stand-up on HBO. It's called X. And he does this thing. He's brilliant. He's like, to me, he's the male version of Hannah Gatsby, who's my favorite comedian. They do smart comedy. They're storytellers. And he like lulls all these men through his show into like, I'm an on your side kind of thing. Like we're the same. And then at the very end, he goes on this monologue about this female friend that was raped by one of his best friends. And she's like, and he's like, I believed her, of course. And there were all these warning signs, but as men, we don't think about it even, you know? And I encourage anyone, and also Haley, yeah, like watch it. It's incredible. You'll know what I'm talking about. Because yeah, men are unaware, but it's also like if all of these women have been assaulted, you are friends with a rapist or a sexual assaulter, and you don't even know it. Because maybe, you know, the women in your life aren't comfortable enough to tell you about it. But then what does that say about you?
Yeah.
So anyway, go watch that special, especially if there's like a man listening to this, which I don't know if there is. But if there is, I would encourage you to do it and sit with some of the feelings that come up. You know, it's a good thing to do.
Period.
Period. So Trauma Circle, tell us how PJ and what's her face fuck it up.
Yeah, so Hazel shares and opens up that she's having a really tough time because her parents are going through a divorce. It's been really hard on her. And then PJ like cuts her off and just starts talking about herself. And then Josie goes to her and is like, yeah, well, I think that like we should end with me. And like just ends it, cuts like basically.
I think she's so uncomfortable with vulnerability and emotional openness that she can't handle it, and she's like, I have to say something funny, or I have to say something and get this to stop, because she was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And Hazel is left sitting there like, wow.
Okay,
like I
wow.
just shared my trauma and not a word was said back, and I was cut off, and now everyone's gone. And I've just like been left open and vulnerable, and that's it.
Yeah, no
nothing in
one
return.
came. This was the spot I was supposed to get support from. And because that wasn't the legitimate motive of Josie and PJ and starting this club, she wasn't going to get it. It was Hazel's motive, because Hazel was part of starting the club, you know, and it was Hazel's motive. But then I think she was slapped in the face with, oh, this isn't what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I think this is part of the trauma circle is part of Hazel's villain origin story.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, let's move this along. We're getting stuck in our weeds and our tangents.
What Josie shared was about Juvie, which the reason why that's so upsetting is because we as an audience know that that wasn't real. She didn't go to Juvie. That's a made up story. And Hazel also knows that. So,
she didn't take the opportunity to be vulnerable and actually share something. She just continued with the lie.
Yeah. But then Isabel thinks that she is being vulnerable, and she's like, oh my gosh, wow, and invites Josie over to study after she shares about going to juvie. And so,
which classic high school, there's going to be something happening here. We're going to be alone. We're going to be talking. Like, it's so funny. We see it in like all the classic high school movies. Mean Girls does it, right? She's like, I think I need a tutor. Like, it's so classic.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Funk is the football player who's kind of been sleuthing around on this group because he's trying to bring him down because he is devoted to Jeff, his star quarterback.
Yeah, they're the male version of Isabel and Brittany.
Yes.
And what'd you call him? Funk? Tim? No, his name was Tim.
On his jersey, it says Funk.
That's his last.
Hunck. So yeah, it must be his last name.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the cast. It says Tim, so that's how I was going to refer to him. Maybe they didn't even say that. But he is the Brittany character. His identity is wrapped up in Jeff.
Yes.
And yeah, he's trying to bring it down because he thinks that that's like this like huge ulterior. Everything's about Jeff. So this is somehow going to affect Jeff, the Fight Club.
Yes. So he is on to them that Juvie is not real, and he's been listening outside of this trauma circle, and he is like, taking notes. I am going to come back to this. So anyway, he's trying to sabotage them. And they blow up Jeff's car.
Yep.
Because Hazel catches Jeff making out with her mom.
Yes.
And Isabel is pretty upset that Jeff is cheating again. So yeah, they go to some extreme lengths. They're gonna just like, well,
and at first they're just
house.
Yes.
But Hazel gets a little cray-cray on this and she blows up his car. So this is funny. Where Funk is really, doubling down on the let's sabotage the Fight Club. And Isabel and Josie like make out, they have sex, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And on that same night, when things have gone really well for one friend, things do not go so well for PJ because PJ is like really trying to come on to Brittany and kisses Brittany. And Brittany's like, oh, I am really sorry if I gave you the wrong idea, but I'm straight.
However, though, I think Brittany handled that situation with such class and with such kindness. Like it wasn't even like a funny scene in a funny movie. It was like, this is how people should react to like a gay person coming onto them. Because you know about like gay panic defense, right? You know about in the court of law. So this was a law that had been on the books for a long time, and it normally pertained to like male gayness, I guess. But it was called the gay panic defense, and that was if a guy came onto another guy who was, let's say, straight, he could kill him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and and get away with it because he was so scared, and it happened all the time, and it's horrible. And those laws are just recently coming undone. They're being overturned in the court system. And this is what I think this movie was kind of getting at, was like, how is she going to react to how is Brittany going to react to PJ coming on to her? Is she going to get violent? Because remember that, like, to me, there's a lot of like gender bending in this film where it's like women acting like men. And so I felt in this scene, it was very much coming at it like, this is how you are supposed to react if a gay person comes on to you. Just say, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm actually straight. And then it's done. It's that simple. You don't need to react with violence to something like that. No. Yeah. This scene to me was very layered and like steeped in a lot of culture and like history, like gay history. That's what I mean. I really think that this movie went over so many people's heads in a lot of ways.
I had no idea about that law.
It's really horrible. It's called gay panic defense.
Terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so Brittany does not return PJ's feelings. And, obviously Josie's going to come to school and want to tell her best friend about, her quote unquote conquest. But this is also where we see Josie starting to change, starting to see her see Isabel as more than just someone she wants to fuck. It's like somebody that she wants to get to know and like understand on a deeper level. And unfortunately, this backfires in her face. Because when Isabel finds out, she is understandably incredibly unhappy with Josie.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be too. It feels like a betrayal. Like the entire foundation of your relationship is built on a lie.
Yeah. And it is. It honestly is. Even though Josie's views are changing, it's hard to get over this that you did this in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so and then going back to PJ's just pissed all around because one, she didn't get what she wanted from Brittany, and then her friend succeeded and she didn't, and you just see her kind of spiral
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. Which I want to go back to just for a second to when Josie has Brittany over and she's hiding all of the embarrassing stuff in her bedroom.
That was
Because
cute.
it was so funny. It is so real. She's so real for that. And, or sorry, not Brittany, Isabel.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
And Isabel is like, oh, I love God. And it's, you know, it has nothing to do with God. And Josie's like, oh, me too. And she tells her that she can borrow her sweatshirt and
you can like borrow it.
Yeah, it's just so
it's cute.
It's so real. It's so real. I love it.
I know. I love the dialogue. It's so cute. It's real, it's cute, but it's funny. Let's go to the tragic assembly because I know that you have a hard out, so I want to make sure we get to this.
Yes. The pep rally was, first of all, insane because this is a high school pep rally and there are girls flashing people. The cheerleaders are wet, like dripping wet, and they're wearing white. It's like a wet t-shirt contest up in here.
That's exactly what it was. But you know what? That is like how we do pep rallies. Like literally, the cheerleaders are there to be seen.
Never had a pep rally like this.
No, but I'm saying. Hear me out. I very analytically watched this movie. Okay. It's the vibe. The cheerleaders are there to be looked at and fawned over. So might as well put them in a white shirt and throw water on them. They're being so objectified and sexualized that that's what I think they're getting at is like, this is what we do to young girls when we make them be, let's put them in short skirts and have them kick high. And I love cheerleading. I think it's an incredible sport. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying, I think that's what the film was going for in this scene. It's like, this is what we do every day. We might as well just show what everybody actually is wanting to see. Does that make sense? I feel like I say that a lot.
I guess so.
I
also think maybe my personal experience is like tainting my opinion of what you're saying because my school, the cheerleaders were not like the super cool girls and whatever. It wasn't like in Glee when it was like the hottest, coolest girls were the cheerleaders. Yeah. It was like
the girls that did cheerleading.
The girls that like didn't really want to have to like run a lap in gym, and so
okay, but you grew up in Montana. Go to any fucking high school in LA, and that's what this is. Okay, so yeah, I'm just saying, like campy movies are social commentary. You have, but I'm a cheerleader. That is like a precursor to this movie, I think, and it's got RuPaul in it, and oh my God, I'm messing up all their names. But anyway, and it really is trying to draw attention to crazy, like actual legitimate crazy things in our society, like the objectification of cheerleaders in a child's school, And so, yeah, we're going to throw water on them because that's what the crowd wants to see anyway. And it's gross. I know you didn't have pep rallies like that, but
they also just kind of stood there.
Yeah, they didn't really do much.
Yeah, they were not like really excited to participate. They just
nice. But in this pep rally, the men completely humiliate and objectify Hazel. And they're like, oh, you're such a fighter now. You were in a fight club. Okay, defend yourself against this guy. And it's the biggest, most giant guy in the school and whatever. And it's like, fine, you think you're so tough? You think you're a tough girl now? Here you go, fight him.
After Hazel had helped them.
I know. Because there this type of man is never going to see a woman as a human, right? That this type of person, it could be a man or a woman, whatever, but in this movie it's a man, is going to just use, right? Use the person. They're not going to see that Hazel just helped them. They're just like, let me put you in your place.
Yeah.
So
I was so sad for Hazel this whole time because she was like had already been betrayed by her friends. I mean, PJ had basically told her like to fuck off and that she has no friends
right.
in front of all of her friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the group fell apart anyway.
Yes.
And so then she went over to the other side and now she's getting embarrassed in front of the entire school and literally beat to a pulp.
I know. That was very hard to watch for me.
Yeah.
To watch her get punched in the face like that, like that was so gut-wrenching. And then at the end, her friends from the fight club like come and pick her up off the ground and like take her out and take care of her. And it's like the dramatic point of the movie, you know?
Yeah. And the way that they turn and look at PJ and Josie, you can tell that they blame them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't fault them for thinking that, you know? I mean, it's not their fault ultimately, but it was a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't come stick up for her.
No. And then next we see them have to, reckon with what has happened, what's happened to their friends, why they did what they did, who are they, what has happened to their identity, what are their values, and they also are like in a fight with each other because neither one of them can really take accountability.
No, yeah. Josie and PJ end up PJ starts the fight because she's pissed off that Josie hooked up with Isabel, right? And it just escalates from there. And yeah, they're in this huge fight. Continue. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. So then there is a big football game that night versus this team that is well known for inflicting violence on them every time that they play each other. And so they were fearful that they were going to get someone. And then they get some intel that Jeff is going to get murdered by these people. So they are like, we have to save him.
Which is so weird. What? Let him die.
So
he sucks.
Also, like the mode of murder is that they're going to turn on the sprinkler system in the middle of the game, and they've infused the sprinklers with pineapple juice, which he is like deathly allergic to pineapples, which
so
is
funny.
So insane. Also, this is another example of extreme escalation is that this rival football team is going to murder somebody.
Right.
And then, of course, we get to the game and they need to have a distraction. So Hazel and PJ make out in front of everyone.
Like, okay, make out with each other.
Yeah, and
the objectification of lesbianism for the male gaze. I could talk days about that.
And then I thought it was so funny how they made this like an actual war scene in a war movie.
Yeah, it was in a great shot. Oh my god, the talent on this film, from the cast to the crew is insane.
Little Io with Jeff over her shoulder was so funny, like carrying him across the whole field.
Yes,
saves his life, performs CPR, and is now a hero. They're like celebrated by the school, but it's like a full-on Spartan war scene. Like the one, oh my gosh, this whole time we haven't talked about the one like crazy girl in this club who is like she takes everything to the extreme, but she ends up with a sword on this
on the field.
Like, where is this sword coming from? Another,
But
just
you
absolute
expect it from her.
escalation.
Like, she,
Yeah.
of course, would be the
Yeah.
one with the sword.
Yeah, like, it's not at all surprising that Homegirl just has a
Whipped
sword
that out.
of nowhere.
Yep.
That she was ready for war. Like,
Yeah.
of course she would. But you would find her, I think, in a trailer park, like, having just cooked some meth.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, she's here in high school.
Yeah. But they save Jeff. The sprinklers like don't even turn on until later, which is a really funny little key bit. But let's talk about Isabel and Josie's little reconciliation.
Yeah, Josie has a nice little apology, and Isabel decides to accept. So.
I appreciated the scene because I was like, what a sweet thing for it. Like, Isabel doesn't need to forgive her. Like, she really doesn't. But the thing I love women, I obviously, but like, I think women are so much like so open. And I'm not saying like men aren't, I'm talking about women here, are just so open to hearing the other person out, especially if it's another woman, because we know how complex like our lives and our inner worlds can be. And so I just think Isabel's so sweet to like really hear Josie out and be like, I hear that your intentions have changed and that, you know, you're learning. And I appreciate that. Right. I just thought it was really sweet.
Yeah. So, of course, they're cutie pies and they're going to fall in love and be together.
Live
forever,
happily
right?
ever after, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
They have to. They're 16. They know exactly what they want in life.
Yeah.
But overall, such a cute movie. So funny. Would you watch it again?
I would watch it again.
Yes, I would too. I loved it.
I liked it a lot. I want to tell everybody on here to get reading.
Yes, get reading, everyone. What are we reading, Haley?
Okay, so we're starting a series, and book 1 in the series is Integrity. This is by E.J. Noyes, and this is the Halcyon Division number 1 series, or the Halcyon Division series, sorry. This is book number 1. And there's 3 books in this series. We will cover them, and this was a request by Lavelle Swoons on Instagram. So thank you, Lavelle, for your request. We're really excited to read this.
And something about the person who requested the book. She is a diehard Bay FC fan. Just so everyone knows where she's coming from. Careful as our rivals, but we took your suggestion anyway.
But I have started this book, and it has a little similarity to Bottoms in that there's a relationship founded on lies. So.
Ooh, and this will surprise no one, but I haven't started the book yet. But I will. I'm excited. Can you give us like a little bit of what the book is about to get people interested?
Yeah, so the main character is a government agent who kind of does a lot of undercover stuff and works in national security.
Okay.
And receives some really sensitive information about terrorism abroad. And very quickly is threatened and has to figure out what to do and how to preserve her life. And she had just started dating somebody new and has to also take her along with her, but not give her any information about what's going on. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's
that's the gist.
The gist of this book. And
I'm
once
excited.
we finish that, we've been sent a book by an author that we are so excited to read. And so we will read that after we read book number 1.
Yes.
So we're really excited to announce what that is after this book.
Yeah, stay tuned, everyone. But thank you for listening to our episode on Bottoms. We cannot wait until we get back to discussing some books. So stay tuned. And bye, everyone. We love you.
Bye.